Hello everybody, this is Kostas and this is our 16th tutorial in Photoshop. In this tutorial I'm going to introduce histograms. So what is a histogram? Well, basically the formal definition is a histogram is a chart of the tonal ranges of your image. And I know that sounds kind of weird, but histograms are really easy to understand. And they can actually be found in cameras nowadays and a lot of photo editors out there, and they give you a lot of information about your image, so it's really important to know how they work. Now this is what a histogram looks like in Photoshop, and I know what most of you are wondering, how did they come up with this thing? Basically, imagine that this is a histogram of just one channel of colors in Photoshop, and remember, a channel is basically a color component that makes up the final color of your image. And basically in the RGB color model, this channel could be the red, green, or blue channel. And they said, you know, over here we have level 0. And remember, the level is the quantity of color that you have in this channel. And over here we have the level 255. And they said, okay, let's just count how many pixels in this channel have a level of 0. And they came up with the number 2. And they put that over here. And then they said how many pixels have a value of 1, and they came up with 1 pixel, and then how many pixels have a level of 3, and a level of 4, and a level of 5, and they basically did this all the way through to 255, and they came up with this chart, which is our histogram. Now, what would this histogram represent if it was the histogram of the whole image, of the whole RGB color model? Well, this side of it would represent the shadows. And you might think of that on your own, but why is that? Well, that is because the more you put of each channel, the more pixels you put together of each channel that have a value close to 0, you're actually going to get a darker pixel. So channels with a level close to 0 give you darker pixels, and that's why they represent shadows. On this side you'd represent highlights. Okay, so because if you put together channels with levels close to 255, you get lighter pixels, and that's why you represent highlights. And over here the middle, those are called the midtones. And those are basically the middle tones of your image. Now let's just go ahead on Photoshop and see where to find a histogram. Over here I've opened the histogram tab, and to do that you can go in Window, Histogram. Now let's just view a few different options on the histogram tab. Over here at the menu you can select the compact view, and that's the view we're viewing right now, and it just has the histogram with no info. Now the expanded view gives you some statistics over here and gives you the ability to select which channel the histogram is from. Now the all channels view is basically going to show you the histogram of the RGB color model over here, and all of the different channels, different channel histograms over here. So you get the histogram of the red channel, the green channel, and the blue channel. And you can actually show those statistics or not if you don't want to by clicking over here on the Show Statistics option. And you can also show those channels in color if you want to or not. Yeah, and this is another option. I like them to be in color. And over here you get the option to switch between the histograms of different channels. Let's just set that to the expanded view mode again. And basically you can just view the histogram of the red channel, you can view the histogram of the green channel, and the blue channel for this image. And you can also view the histogram of the luminosity, and the luminosity is basically the brightness. And this histogram of course works the same way as every other histogram. It just counts the brightness of each pixel. And the histogram of the colors is basically all of the histograms of the red, green, and blue channels for this image combined together. And as you can see, where they get one on top of each other, you can see we have those areas that are kind of a different color. Now let's just go back to the RGB color model. And I want us to see the histogram of an overexposed image, and that's basically what histograms are mostly used for. They're used to understand whether an image is overexposed, underexposed, or whether it has the correct lightness. Now let's just go over here. I have an overexposed image, as you can see. You have the sun actually burning this area of the image. And over here we get the histogram, and as you can see over here, we don't have a lot of midtones. We have basically no shadows, and we have a lot of highlights. And as you can see, this line over here at the side basically means you have a lot of white pixels, a lot of pixels that have a level of 255. And that's why all of the pixels are towards this side, because you have a lot of highlights. And as we said, the image is overexposed. Now over here, the third image is underexposed, and let's just look at the histogram of this image. And as you can see, all the information of this histogram is concentrated to the left side of the histogram, and you get this area over here where basically this shows us that we have a lot of shadows in our image. And as I said before, this area represents the shadows. So this basically means that you have a lot of shadows in your image. And remember, you cannot come to a conclusion about whether an image is overexposed or underexposed just by its histogram. You have to be able to view the image, and I'm just going to demonstrate this with an example. Let's just see this image, and let's just not look at the histogram right yet. What do you think the histogram will look like from this image? Well, it seems to be a perfect image. It was made by a professional. It seems to be perfectly exposed, but we have this white background and this car is black. So what the histogram basically looks like is like this, and it's actually underexposed and overexposed. And if you view this side, you can see this long line over here, and this is because the car is black, so you get a lot of black pixels, which actually make the histogram of the image look like it's underexposed. You don't get a lot of midtones over here, but you get a lot of highlights as well. And this is because of the white background, so the highlights basically are the white pixels of the background. And viewing this image, you understand that it's not overexposed, it's not underexposed, it's actually a perfect image. But the histogram does not represent the underexposure and overexposure of an image. But viewing one of those images, you basically can easily understand that it's overexposed and underexposed just by its histogram and viewing the picture all in all. Now, that's what I wanted to talk about in this tutorial. In the next tutorial, I'm going to be coming up with tools that you can use to actually edit those histograms. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed the tutorial, and see you next time.